Talking Tuesday. It's what we do. We just sit around, smoke a pound, and talk about what we do in the cannabis world. We gon' let you know how the business go on a brand new show. Talking Tuesday. Show you how to do it right.
Yo. Welcome to Token Tuesday, where we got real cannabis players talking real cannabis issues. We also, I have to say, we just don't, I always say talking real cannabis issues because we really do. We talk real cannabis issues, but we also talk social issues. We talk social justice issues. We talk worldly issues. Hey, we talk about it. Y'all, if y'all been tuning in to us and gone in there and, right there at the bottom, click the tab and subscribe. We talk about it all. Brand new socks and drawers, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I got Marco and Ruby to my right. I got Keith to my left. And look like Marco got some bomb diggity sitting over there.
What you got on
That's that 2007 purple kush. Why don't you slide some over here to the pipes over here, man?
I'm hogging everything.
I
took all the
notes. Hogging the greenery.
Thank you, sir. Much appreciation.
Wow.
So we're going to jump right in it today. Let me throw on my specs, because I'm getting old. I'm blind. We're going to jump right in. We got some real topics today. And I just want to talk about a few topics that we have today that I took some little notes on. I wanted to jot some things down so I would not forget, and I missed it. But I'm going to tell you, I'll start off with, I just want to talk about what is happening in our country today with this immigration issue.
Nice.
And I want to dig right into it because one thing I am is a realist. Painfully so, I'm a realist. And this is a topic that I don't think is explained enough to people to where they understand.
Yeah.
Right? Now, when we talk about the people who were in this protest, I have to look at, things in a very objective manner. Let's talk about shutting down the 101 freeway. If you want people to support your cause, shutting down a freeway is not how you get that support. You actually will get a bunch of pissed off people trying to get to work on time
or somewhere else,
and get to their day-to-day things, and you shut down or impede them from doing it. 9 times out of 10, it's not going to get the support you want to get. So it seems to be more counterintuitive than it is productive. Now, we also have to talk about the many flags that we were seeing flown as they were on the freeway. Mm-hmm. Now, people from America will say, well, those are Mexican flags, but you're here in America. Shouldn't you be flying American flags if you want citizenship in this country?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because you do have to pledge allegiance to the flag when you become a citizen. You have to learn the codes and the conducts of the United States of America.
I agree.
So, I watched and listened to a lot of the posts people were saying, so if you love Mexico so good, go back and fix Mexico. So maybe America be less desirable to come to.
Mm-hmm.
But Virgil, can I want to interject something, because here's something that I like how you opened up and you said that we need to understand immigration for the tool and the function that it is.
Exactly.
I want to add one thing to this. So when our last president, Joe Biden, basically went off into the sunset, one of the last things he did was he pardoned Fauci. Okay. Now, during this pardon, we really didn't have any information to go with. But later on, it came out that every country had a 3 to 4% mortality rate from COVID, but America had a 16% mortality rate. And one of the reasons they said that ours was 4 times as high as everybody else was because of the pre-existing health conditions.
Yeah, how
So
they were
when
reporting
you
it.
think about our population losing 16%, we talking about people of working class. We talking about like the very functioning of America.
And you know why? But you have to look at the underlying. Everybody that got sick and died had underlying issues,
Mhm.
which
What-
is
what-
which
what-
is which is basically saying the same thing that RFK was saying.
Wait a
That
minute, hold on.
America's been feeding. We've been fed so much garbage.
That we're all sick.
That we all sick.
Yeah.
But hold up, Virgil. That's the second piece I want to get to. The
And a
first
lot of
piece
people's
is
heart
this.
deaths.
Well, Mark, let me
during
just
that
let me
time.
just say this, and I want to turn it over to you guys as an open panel.
Mhm.
If we lost 16% of our population, didn't we need immigration just to function and to continue forward?
So I say
Procreation.
immigration is always needed.
And have more babies.
I don't care.
Well, that's
What
a
country
long-term
you in?
plan. That's why.
Yeah,
Listen,
but they're
I don't
trying
care.
to control.
I don't care what country you in.
Mm-hmm.
Immigration is necessary.
Yes,
sir.
Immigration is needed.
Mm-hmm.
When you look biblically,
It's been happening.
migration has been happening from the
Forever.
very
That's true.
beginning.
Forever. Yeah,
That's true.
forever.
So immigration, migration, whatever you want to call it, is nothing new.
That's
No.
true. That's why everyone has a little African in them. And people don't want to admit that. But the people that have taken ancestry,
Come on.
even if it's a 1-2%, it's in there. So it's like
You
we
see what I'm
started
saying?
somewhere.
But
the
the
Chinese
point-
had to admit it. They spent millions of dollars, and it came right back to the
The,
Africans.
the point you made, which I like, is that when Biden ran off into the sunset or said, well, he couldn't run, but he had to stumble and crawl into the sunset, he did nothing for immigration.
Yeah.
And the reason why he did nothing for immigration, because immigration wouldn't be in the position that they were in if the Democrats really cared about immigration.
Dude, you wouldn't have to crack down on it so hard.
Yeah, what would you have to crack down on it if it was fixed during the Biden administration?
They let the floodgates open.
And they created a problem.
Mhm.
The same
They
way
can have a
that
solution.
our governor creates a problem and our elected officials create a problem when they make a sanctuary city, but they don't give you the tools to protect them.
Right.
That's a false. Sanctuary cities are a false sense of security.
It's
they are.
basically,
You
I
do
just
not
highlighted
provide-
where the people are
Come
at.
on, you provide
I just-
no protection for the people here.
No.
So our elected officials have done us a disservice, not a justice.
Yes.
And you got these people running around thinking that we're safe. No, you're
Yeah,
not.
Mhm.
It's almost like just the weed related. How like when we used to get licenses available to us through the cities,
Come
but
on.
then they come and shut us down because they know who had it.
Yeah.
The sanctuary city is the same shit. It's just
Same
basically saying they
concept.
all right here.
They all right here. These are where the shops are. They on the pre-ICO list.
Those are the
Here,
first
and
ones
the
that got
feds
taken
can get
down.
that pre-ICO list
Mhm.
and go raid
And
every
go-
last one of them.
Basically, because we a sanctuary
So,
city.
so here's
clearly they
something
here.
else that I want to interject in. When you go back to look at, I can't remember the gentleman that's over the immigration. He said that they would be going after the 100,000 criminals that are already being convicted. Those were the
Yes.
first people that
That's who they're
were
targeting first.
identified, the target to go out. So
Excuse
my
me.
question is this: we all on this panel right here. If we did a crime, the motherfuckers would be looking for us, right?
Shit.
So
They took
so
me
in
to
America-
jail, so they wouldn't be looking for me.
Okay, then.
You know what I'm saying?
Come on, baby.
They took me to jail. They took me to jail for a crime that I didn't commit,
Right.
let alone take me to jail for a crime that I did commit. So
Mhm.
when I got sentenced right before me, there was this Latino brother that got sentenced right before me. He had came into this country illegally 7 times, committed a bunch of crimes,
Mhm.
was in federal court right before me, and his sentence was 72 months. I get up there, and I'm a legal citizen doing what the law allowed me to do, and I get the same 72 months he get.
Something wrong.
7 times he came into this country
And
illegally
committed different crimes.
and all committed different crimes. So we have to understand that the system is broken.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the system needed to be fixed, but nobody thought it to be important enough to fix it.
Mhm.
You have to keep in mind, Trump was in office 4 years ago.
right.
Mhm.
And 4 years ago, he caused problems at the border,
Mhm.
Right.
right?
He
So when
mentioned
this
it.
When he
administration
started
came
building the
in,
wall.
yeah, but when this administration came in, they should have said, well, if nothing else, this should be a problem. We should be
Yeah.
paying
Let's
attention
keep it
to
going.
and
Let's
fix.
keep building the wall.
Yeah. He
But they
started the
didn't
wall,
fix
didn't finish it.
didn't fix the problem. So
No.
it's just sad that
That's because it's not about the
unf-
problem; it's about the ego, and I think that is the problem. I feel like the new administration and like what's coming in might not feel right because it's by the book. You know what I mean? And there's a
Right.
reason why there is a book. It's by the book. The other people, I just felt like it's just to be a devil's advocate, to just do the complete opposite of what the other man did.
and
you
I
know,
think
just to
that,
And,
say-
and you know that's what needs to stop in America.
yeah,
like,
that
like,
need, that
like
definitely
we need a
needs to stop.
continuation because, mind you, we as taxpayers are paying for these efforts. So that means that if something is in place and it's for the well-being of all of us, what gives you the audacity to stop it? And now, 8 years later, guess what? We spending money with planes to get them out when you could have put the wall up then. The one last thing I want to say is this. We got to remember that these are politics at the end of the day. And I always say that one side is
Politics.
playing us for the middle. Because think about
Politics.
this. Kamala got him into America, right? What has Trump been known for over the years? Building stuff with immigration and labor, right or wrong. So guess what? He got an opportunity to rebuild America with brand new immigration and labor.
He sleep with an immigrant. So what are we talking about?
What are
Yeah.
we really talking about?
Multiple,
What is
because
he
all his
talking
children
about?
are from immigrants.
Exactly. You understand what I'm saying? So
But
the
you
thing-
know what they highlighted? That they're not going after all immigrants. They're focused on more of the Latin immigrants, which is something that's kind of true. You know, they're not really going after people from Australia or, you know, different countries that are also here illegally. But
Yeah.
there's
The
you know, and then they
Asians.
throw in
Yeah,
the word
Asians.
alien.
Asians is a
And
huge
that's why they're
population.
saying that
So I
what's
think
what's
that's the only issue I have with
Mhm.
immigration is that I feel that they're attacking more brown people when there's more than brown people that are here
Yeah.
illegally.
Well, let me give
Nice.
you an example of that too, because I like that you brought that
That's
up.
true though,
Yeah.
100%.
When everybody was trying to run for the border to come across during the not the Biden administration but the Trump administration,
There was a lot of
his
Asians.
first, it was a lot of Haitians.
It was
Yeah,
a lot of
Haitians,
Haitians.
yeah.
That's what it was.
And you know what they
Mhm.
did? They got horses and guns and everything to stop the Haitians from coming
I
over.
remember that. Yes.
And that was an issue that they highlighted for a little bit because they didn't want to seem racist about
And
what
swept
they
it
were
under the
doing,
rug.
Mhm.
but they were very
It was
racist.
racial profiling.
So they attacked the darker skinned people and let all of the lighter skinned people,
The
Mhm.
Ukrainians and
Go
everybody
by.
else on,
Oh yeah,
on through.
Mhm.
Ukrainians
the
all day.
Asians,
Mhm.
the Ukrainians,
Yeah.
a lot of the Latin American country
So they're not.
people, but they had went after specifically the Haitians and held them up. When they were coming on a boat, they told them with guns to turn them boats
Yeah.
around and would not let them touch soil.
Hey, you remember them guys that came over
So-
from Cuba? They came over on a 4x8 piece of plywood and they turned them back around saying they couldn't touch American
Couldn't
soil.
touch American
Yeah.
soil.
Like, come on.
So
now.
the thing is
Well,
that
water is different than land too, you know.
The
Yeah, well,
maritime
You know,
laws,
when you're
yeah.
when you're coming through, you know.
yeah, and we get that. But at some point in time, somebody crossed over some water
Oh,
some
for
kind
sure,
of way
for
to get
sure,
to where
for
they
sure.
had to get to.
For sure.
Now,
Everybody.
let's talk about the bigger problem. And America ain't the bigger problem. Trump ain't the bigger problem. Biden ain't the bigger problem. Let's talk about the president of Mexico being the bigger problem.
Mm.
And you have to understand that. How did all those Asians and other people that aren't Mexicans get in Mexico?
Yeah, there's a big
Who let them
population.
in? Whose government let them in?
Mhm.
we have to keep it real. The Mexican government let them in. And had they stopped all that foolishness from coming into Mexico, it wouldn't have created such a big problem of the influx of immigrants coming to America, because it would have only been Mexicans,
Yeah.
That's the chess.
which
move.
would
Yeah.
have been okay.
Yeah,
Right.
besides
'Cause
us too, the
but it's way more than
Panamanians
Mexicans
that were
and
keeping
That's
the
the
where the
Venezuelans
point
and
problem is.
people.
taken.
Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
Mexico is letting everybody use it as a
Mhm.
runway.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And Mexico needs to stop that
That's a good
if
point.
they care anything about the relationship that they have with America.
Yeah.
You have to stop. You protect your borders.
Yeah.
And then we don't have to protect our borders because we ain't got a problem with that free. with
Mhm.
our border being free flowing to Mexico. When has it ever been?
Yeah.
My
So-
dad has houses in
Mhm.
Mexico. We used to go to all the time. The border was open for us to travel back and
Yeah.
forth. Never has it been an issue.
So Virgil's
But then
point,
we didn't have this influx
Mhm.
of others coming
Right.
in.
Through
right,
that.
100%.
There's never been a problem with the relationship from Mexico to America. Let's keep it real.
So to Virgil's point, that's part of what the tariff wars are all about. He's basically saying that, hey, look, I'm gonna charge you 25%, I'm gonna charge you 10%. And the compromise was secure your borders.
Yeah, that's
Secure your borders and stop letting all this BS come through there.
So
Yeah.
what he did? So what did he do? He had to threaten Shine Bomb on the tariffs, and Shine Bomb said, "Wait, give me a month. Hold tight. Wait up,
Right? Come
Trumpy
on
Dumpy.
now.
Give me a month." And she sent 10,000 troops to the border.
And-
Well,
and-
how come she couldn't do that long time ago when she first became president to say, "I'm gonna show you that I'm being a good neighbor"? Because isn't that what we do in the cannabis industry? We want to show our neighbors that we want to be good neighbors. So what do? We keep our front clean. We don't let nobody loiter in front of our facility. We don't have no foolishness going on. We make sure we're good
Yeah,
neighbors.
yeah. I think what she needed was to go behind the scenes and get approval from the real people pulling the string.
Come on, man.
That's
talk
really
to me.
what happened.
but-
She
but
couldn't
you-
make. She can't make the call. She had to go behind the scenes, get the call made, then say that the call is accepted.
And guess who got hemmed up when they sent them 10,000 to the border? Majority of them people were the cartel.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Which Trump just waged war with them, right? And I think that they recently said that the cartel has responded, which is going to be interesting. And I have my partake on that because I feel like our government has ties with them already anyways, you know? So, you know, there was a time where there was guns that were sent to Mexico that were supposed to get tracked with GPS and they didn't think of the battery dying. Like, you're gonna tell me that our country's that dumb to not have thought of
Yeah.
that, you know?
Come on
So
now.
I will tell you one thing: as a strategic, military, let's say militant-minded type person, it's not a very good strategy to do anything against Mexico because there really isn't that many people who really honestly do everything for us.
Mm-hmm.
Like build fucking everything. They know the blueprint of everything. If they a bank that was just built, they built the shit. Whether
Mhm.
they have the blueprint or not, they have the blueprint because they built it. Hector did this part, Jose did that part, the roofing, the this, the that. They know the layout. They
But-
know the layout of the land, of everything, of anything that we do.
But you know what?
So
go
let
ahead,
me
go ahead.
jump in
And
front of that.
they're already in the house.
But hold on, let me jump in front of that. Because I always have to take you back to the beginning on how America was built to start with.
Yeah.
And America was built on slavery.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
keep it
Free
real
labor.
how America was built.
Yeah.
The White House was built by slaves.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes,
But the
sir.
west side, this side is still Mexico first.
I understand, but listen to what I'm saying. Even California was built on slavery.
Mhm.
So let's keep that real too, because a lot of the things that were being built, they had two races that did all of the building back in the day. The Chinese,
The Chinese.
because
and
they did the railroads. Remember that.
Yep.
Remember the Chinese did the
Or
railroads.
the Japanese.
Chinese, Japanese,
Yeah.
Asians of
Yes.
some sort
Yes.
built the railroads. And guess who built everything else? The black man.
Yeah.
He was the carpenter.
Mhm.
He was the what is it? The ironsmith. What is it?
Masonry from
He was the masonry.
Yeah.
He did
Blacksmith, everything.
everything.
Yes.
You had a black man doing everything from building to construction to you name it. When you look at all of the inventions
Mhm.
in America, I would say 85% of them were black people doing it. From your microwave to your cell phone to your telephone, because to your light. We're
It
not
was
going.
just-
Let's keep it real.
was fucked
Those
up that
white
they-
folks that they wanted to say did that didn't do
No.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
because
yeah,
they weren't allowed to get their patent because of their skin
Yeah.
color. Which is
Exactly.
really
Yeah.
fucked
Yeah.
up.
Even
But-
like the
but-
cotton
but
machine,
hold
like
on.
to pick the cotton, so they didn't have to do it no more. All of that.
So here's the one thing that I want to remind you guys of. Immigration is functional when you do it right.
Mm.
Like Trump said this in the first administration. Like, we want the best, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we backfilling, and see, this is where I keep on telling people, after COVID, when did we ever have a hot wash to say, hey, of the whole population. This is what we lost. This is what we lost from, working class. Hey, let's repopulate. We need to bring families together. Like, we never ever had that. So right now we like literally playing catch up. So you got to remember this. The community in Springfield, Ohio, remember they're eating the cats and the dogs.
Yeah.
If you remember during Dave Chappelle's SNL dialogue, he talked about that community.
Mm-hmm.
When the population went down from COVID, somebody had the backfill. Those those Haitians went in there and took those jobs, opened those restaurants back out to allow that community to keep on functioning. We should be thanking them for coming in. And, and this is just me as an American citizen thinking from a standpoint of culture.
Mm-hmm.
Those are our people. We need to be welcoming them and saying, hey, listen, we apologize that this is going on, but we need you. We receive you.
Yeah.
Where I have a problem is the 100,000. If you've committed a crime in America, why the hell shouldn't you be put out?
Mm-hmm.
What rights do you have that in the 90s when they was knocking down doors and taking black men out away from their family, what rights did they have? So you can't play it both ways. I'm not going to be a bleeding heart all of a sudden after I know what happened to my people, and I witnessed with my own eyes. How the hell am I all of a sudden I'm just gonna say, well, a felon, you're alien inside of America. That's the first felon, and then you do a crime. You need to get your ass up out of here.
Yeah. And I'm gonna keep it funky.
But that's
now that I heard that.
That's with any country.
Yeah, that's with any country. And I'm gonna keep it funky now that I heard what you said, because at the end of the day, I think I gotta go back to my favorite part, which is just the streets. At the end of the day, if you want to cross over and take the risk and take your chances, that's on you.
Yes, sir.
At the end of the day, anything y'all deciding to do is on you.
And
because
when you get popped, don't cry
don't
about
cry about it.
Don't
That's
cry
on
about
you.
it. You
You
knew you was in
You
the mix.
knew you was in the.
You know what I'm saying?
Some of us have
I
done
knew I
things
was
that
out
we
here selling dope.
ain't
Now I'm
supposed to
crying
do.
about- I knew I was selling dope. Now I'm crying
Now
about
cry-
the years I
Yeah.
got.
Right.
You
Come
knew you
on
shouldn't
now.
have crossed,
Come
but
on.
you crossed.
I knew
and
I
now
put
you-
a gun to
yeah.
this man's head
Yeah.
and robbed him for his change.
Hey.
Now I want to cry. Now I'm locked up.
Taking
That's all I-
penitentiary
come on,
chances
I'll
for
keep it
pennies.
funky.
Knock it
Come
off.
on,
That's
man.
all. And if you could duck and hide, duck and hide.
Duck and
Ain't
hide.
nobody
That's
going.
the business.
That's true.
If you could duck and hide, if you in the crib right now talking about they ain't gonna find me, then cool.
Handle
Just hide
your
out till the
business.
shit cools
Do
off.
you,
got
boo?
You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
you came out here
I
to
ain't
do what you
mad
had
at
to do, so do it.
I am not mad at you.
Yeah.
Now,
It's true.
I want to jump into something else, but hey, because we could go all day on this issue right here, but I want to jump into something, and I want to talk about Brooks, and his name is Robert Brooks. And in case y'all aren't familiar with Robert Brooks, he was killed in New York by the police when he was in custody, and so this didn't really make news like it should have made news. They beat him down. It was on video.
This recent.
Yeah, just recent. So I'm here. This is an article. Death of a New York man. Death of a New York man beaten by correctional officers sparked outrage and protest. So this is December 31st, right? Is when this article was written. There's a growing outrage over the death of Robert Brooks, an inmate in a New York state prison who was brutally beaten by more than a dozen
Dang.
correctional officers. And this was caught on film. All caught on film.
Someone was recording?
Oh yeah. Well, they had body cam or whatever. But it's all caught on. Now look at this officer kicking the mess out of him.
Oh.
So this is when we talk about, just all of the issues that this country has. Look at this. This dude look at him. He's kicking the mess out of him. He just got there. Look how they even dragging him.
So what?
Look at that. Choking him, yanking by. Look how he got him by the neck.
God.
You see,
It looks like a fake body.
20 minutes beating. So, go look it up.
Damn, that's cold.
But you see how he had the man by the neck, like picked him up by
Yeah.
his head
And you see them
from
just
his whole
kicking
body,
him,
and he
yeah.
handcuffed, and his feet are bound and this is how you treat the man. You know what I'm saying? Okay, he committed a crime. He on his way to prison. The judge gave him his sentence.
There's no need for that.
There, the sentence you gave him wasn't included in what the judge gave.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm gonna tell you guys, like, more and more that is going to continue to happen. And you guys got to understand, America's at an inflection point right now. Like, how can I have empathy for a person that's out there doing stupid shit when we here trying and working hard just to keep what we have, and we constantly getting our heads beat? So you got to understand that, like, by all means, we got to have empathy for that right there, because that has to be rooted out of our society.
Exactly.
But we got to
Or
explain.
rooted out of the system
Yeah.
that operates within our society.
100%.
Because we have to understand that there are systems that operate within our society, but operate against our society.
Yeah.
Well, the one point I want to make is this: like, we definitely, as Black and brown people, have to create our own subculture,
Yes.
because only economics is going to get us out of where we at. Like, this young man that I literally don't know what he did, but a lot of these bad decisions are coming from the fact that they've just never been introduced to, something that's sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I keep making this point that in 2022, Black men was represented the less in our labor force.
Mm-hmm.
How the hell can we have all these DI, programs that's supposed to build a Black family and literally right the wrong, but yet we represented the least?
Those programs aren't for us. So when we talk about, when I said that they can get rid of those programs don't represent us. They represent white women.
Mm-hmm.
They represent gays, transgenders, and
Mhm.
everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
They're Asians, and the
Don't
list
forget Black
goes on.
women.
When you look in the tech world, the DEI or whatever that is, it represents those Asians in there. It represents the white woman. The white woman is considered a minority.
Mm-hmm.
She living with the rich white man, but
Mhm.
she's considered a minority. And she can take advantage of the same opportunities that a less fortunate or a person that has less resources at their grasp, she can take advantage of those.
But from that point right here, what he just said, I actually don't blame the program for that point right there.
I don't.
And you know the reason why? When a white woman got into a position, she went back and helped her family in her
Come
community.
on, talk to me.
But see, when a Black woman went out and got hers, did she come back to enrich her community? And we have to listen. At a certain point, we have to pay attention to, if you're not building up your subculture, your community, then who is to
What are you
support you
doing?
when you get out there?
What are you doing? And so I agree with that 1,000%, because if we look at what I've done in the cannabis industry, it didn't do nothing for me.
Mm-hmm.
It did something for the
For
people
everyone else, yeah.
that's coming after me.
Mm-hmm.
I did it. I opened the door for people who were unjustly harmed by the failed war on drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I benefited nothing from the social equity program, because I don't even have a social equity license.
Mhm.
So I created a program that exists in the city of Los Angeles to do what? Help other people.
Mm-hmm.
Doing it in San Diego right now. Just came last Saturday from teaching class at San Diego City College. Helping who? All those people that was in the audience listening to what we had to say, trying to get a social equity license. Another program I'm help building in the county of San Diego so that people can get licenses that have been harmed by the field war on drugs. So I agree 100% of what you're saying, Keith. You have to reach back at some time and unselfishly
Mm-hmm.
do what needs to be done for those that don't have that same opportunity. The problem that I think we face, like Keith said, is that we don't do that. And then we don't teach that. We don't take that and foster that over and over again. When you talk about recidivism, that's what recidivism should look like. You over and over again teaching one of yours to do better in life.
Right.
But also, like Keith said, they have to have an opportunity. You cannot walk up to a gang member, a drug dealer, or a thief and tell him to stop doing what he's doing
You don't have an alternative.
if you
Yeah.
don't give him nothing to work with.
True.
No. I got one better. You need to come up by your bootstraps, and he ain't got no boots. How the hell that's gonna work?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that becomes a problem. So I get what you're saying. We don't know what the brother did, but we do
But
know
that
that
shouldn't
the
have been
brother
done,
now
though.
was in
Yeah.
custody
Yeah.
of people that should have handled him a little different and a lot better. We do know
We
that.
do know that.
Yeah.
We know that the system, there's no way that a man should have been handcuffed
Mhm.
and
And beat
then
that way.
still beaten by multiple police officers, beaten and then killed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now, hit from, they said a 12-year sentence. They didn't say death.
Right.
They didn't say he was sentenced to death.
Mm-hmm.
But see, I'm gonna tell you. You remember that picture with Sylvester Stallone, Judge Dredd, the jury and the executioner. You remember that?
Yeah.
See, this is what's wrong with these cops out here. They literally think they Judge Dredd, and they gonna run up on somebody and
Yeah.
I done found you guilty, and this is your.
But you
like,
know, I think this is what's cold about life, and maybe I'm just cold like that. But like, this is what I appreciate about places like Mexico and sometimes these other places is that there is law, but then there's law. So it's like in other places, I like the fact that people would have had probably more balls to retaliate on those people who did that.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like there's still more consequences for people in other places that I respect sometimes, because you can't just frivolously do that to the wrong person and not see all 12 of those people hanging off of a bridge or with their heads cut
or
off.
they
You feel me?
or his
Like,
family not
yeah,
coming
like
to
so
see
I
you
really
about
respect
something.
that
Yeah,
side of
that's
life
true.
where sometimes, you know, maybe again, I teeter through respecting the law, but also respecting the law of man that supersedes the law that's created on paper. Like there's instinctual things that we just believe is right or wrong, besides the things that are written to tell us what's right or wrong.
I tell you one thing: you kill my seed, I'm killing everything I
You
can
know what
try
I'm
to
saying?
touch that's yours.
Because
You know what I mean?
Everything that
none
you
of
got,
them are gonna get
I'm gonna
charged.
try to
Yeah.
touch.
You
But-
feel
but
me?
wait a
Straight
minute.
So
like
it's like
that.
might as well just take out all 12 of those
Come
guys.
on, man.
Fuck it.
Mhm.
Hey,
You
but
feel
wait a
me?
minute.
So it's
but,
like why
but-
like
but this is why we had the Panthers. Because
Mhm.
you think about it, when there was a traffic stop, they were sitting right there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They watched and they made sure that it went down the right way. And I tell people, I say, listen,
Accountability.
accountability.
Mhm.
See, at the point where this militia had ran out, where they thought this was a slave patrol and they can do this type of stuff right here, you needed somebody to step in that had the oversight to put an end to it. So
Mhm.
I fought the American government for even interfering with the Panthers, because that was one of their primary functions: bring
Yes.
But I
accountability
think
to the
that's why they
police.
wanted to get rid of them.
but they had to
because
get rid of it for that
they-
reason.
Right, for that
Exactly.
reason.
They introduced crack to our communities, you know, so it brought down a lot. And I think they had a bigger purpose, because if they dismantle the family and the black man that was already protecting the community, it's easier for them to come in and do what they've been doing.
And you hit it right on the head.
But you
They took the
got to
black man out.
remember, you got to remember, if you really do the history of Black Panther,
Mhm.
it wasn't just brothers in the Black Panther. It was Chicanos
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
in the Black
There's a lot of
Panther.
Afro Mexicans.
Yeah, and you know why? Because they went on the principles of the 10-point program
Yes, sir.
that
Mhm.
Che Guevara, he was the one. That's where they got their understanding of the 10-point program and their strategic warfare, which was Che Guevara, who Fidel Castro was his right-hand man on his strategical warfare for Cuba.
Yeah.
So you got to understand where things came from and how things
The
came about.
philosophy.
Mhm.
And the problem that existed is you had these two people, groups, races, nationalities
Mhm.
coexisting and sharing
United. Mhm.
sharing information
And
Mhm.
resources.
that was and
networking.
resources that were valuable to their own survival and protection.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You got to keep in mind, when the African slave showed the Native American how to fight warfare, they even went down and protected the Native American to show them, this is how you handle your business. This is how you protect and defend yourself.
Yeah.
So there's always been that. And I like what I saw. There was this Native American brother who posted on Instagram. He said, "This is Black history," and it showed the black man and the Native American, and he was of dark skin, the Native American, and it kept showing the contrast between the two working together, doing things together. That's the history.
Yeah.
And so if I can keep the new Native American, which is the Mexican, and the new African, which is the slave, or descendants of slaves, right? Which is the American, the Black American, right? If I can keep these two people going in different directions and or fighting one another instead of coming together like they used to back in the early days, I can make disruption.
Yeah.
I can then take you and build you up. And then I can then impose that you look down on those other ones that because I'm building you up and I'm giving you status. So look down on them like the Cuban does. You know what I'm saying? When the Cuban gets in a position, look at Downey. A lot of Cubans run Downey, but they look down on the Mexican. You see what I'm saying? You.
Well, skinism is something else.
Colorism.
Well, colorism. That's probably a
it's
better way
definitely,
to say looking at it.
But look how we've allowed it to take place.
Yeah.
And we're the ones at fault. You don't fault the person that's making the moves. You respect the person that's making the move because they're making the move strategically. It's up to us to recognize that it's a chess game.
Yeah.
They sitting on one side, you sitting on the other side. Hey man, the best man win. Play your game, player. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the problem is that we're not recognizing where the real problem is. So guess what? Nobody comes up. Everybody stays down. You know why everybody's staying down? Because everybody looking down on the next one and wanting to keep the next one down. And as long as we doing that, guess who's up there?
Yeah.
All them billionaires. And don't let one of y'all try to rise up and be somebody.
Which we already know.
We gonna knock you down.
And
real quick.
You know, one of the things that I'm kind of, now that we're talking on this subject, now that they're already sending, criminals to Guantanamo Bay, we already know how many of those criminals, the color of the skin that's gonna, there's always injustice in that.
Absolutely.
So it's gonna be a little scary, and I have my eye on that because there's just the way that Trump is moving about things with that. There's a lot to question, and it's not being questioned. It's just happening, which is a scary thing because they already sent the first group.
They're gonna get away with a lot.
Yeah.
We gonna put this smoke screen over here. We're gonna get y'all focusing on immigration. Cause over here, we handling some business y'all don't even know about.
Yeah.
So I don't care. Look, Trump, Biden, Obama, I don't
matter.
care who it is.
Right.
They all a part of that government.
Yes, sir.
They all a part of that regime. They all a part of that keeps us over
away
here
from each other,
focusing on this while shit is going down over there and we don't even know it. 9/11 was a smoke screen.
Yeah.
Well, you know
9/11
what
was a
happened with
smoke screen
9/11?
on many different reasons.
Right. But when in the first 72 hours of 9/11, we as American citizens lost probably about 30-40% of our rights.
Oh, you
Mhm.
gave
Just
it up
because
through
you
the
didn't know.
Patriot
Oh
Act.
yeah.
And they had to take
Stroke
control.
of a pen.
Yeah, just a stroke
Stroke
of
of a pen. You see what I'm saying? And they do that with a lot of different things that happen. And so, guess what? The next big issue, immigration. Stroke of a pen. We can go on and put that where we want to put it. But while y'all thinking about this over here, that really don't mean nothing. We over here taking care of this over here and handling this. What we have to do as a people is not get too caught up in
one subject.
And what we think is the real problem when it ain't the real problem.
Nope.
Because something else is cooking over there in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And we don't even know about it.
Yeah. That's why they say ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
when it comes to politics,
Yeah,
it's for real because you only think you think you know.
Now, what I do want to also jump into, because I had Oh yeah, definitely. I did
That's
want
why I
to.
got him. Got
I
him queued
did
up
want to
for
talk
you.
about Yeah, I'm glad you RFK Jr.
You
I
want me to go
did.
around there?
Man, talk about it.
So I hope you guys been watching the confirmation of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for Secretary of Health and Human Science. This could significantly influence policy related to cannabis and holistic healthcare.
Mhm.
Kennedy has expressed interest in integrating alternative and holistic therapy in mainstream health services, aiming to make such treatments more accessible within a system traditionally dominated by pharmaceutical approaches.
Same thing Dr. Sebi had been talking about for Lord knows how long. And if any of y'all know about Dr. Sebi or don't know about Dr. Sebi, you need to Google him.
Yeah.
Because he was an iridologist, a
Mhm.
naturopathic doctor who cured cancer.
Mhm.
You heard what I said, cured cancer,
Mhm.
has a cure for cancer.
That's why they
And
took
so
him down.
he had to fight the government because,
Mhm.
you know, they was trying to kill him and lock him up
Yeah.
because he had a cure for cancer.
And he was willing to share it with the world.
Share it with the world.
So I got a little trivia. You know, you always wait to the end for the trivia, but I got one for you, right? What was Dr. Sebi's job before he went into becoming to be a doctor?
I don't know. Exactly.
Good question.
That he was just guess.
I thought he was
That
always...
I don't know.
He was a Los Angeles operating engineer. And how I noticed when I was like reading through the case, he said that like working with boilers, he could see like the calcium buildup on the high side.
Yes.
And he knew how to affect the pH of the water to be able to reduce that. And that's how he looked at the human body as a system versus as just individual pieces.
Talk to me.
And like when I literally when I found out that much as an engineer, I was just like, oh my God.
And it makes sense.
And it makes sense.
It make a whole lot of sense of what he's saying. And that's the first thing he says. He talks about the pH balance of the body and how the foods that we eat, all of the processed food. It's crazy because right now, what I am doing, and I know it's crazy, I probably should throw it all out, but I'm eating all of my processed food, and when it's gone, I'm never buying it again.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Yes,
So
sir.
I had the Kraft box of macaroni and cheese. Once them 4 boxes in my cabinet is gone, I ain't never buying it again.
Yeah, but you got to finish it though.
But I'm gonna finish
I was
it.
like, because
Hey,
you
well,
can throw
hey,
away
I
the
don't
boxes.
want to. I ain't throwing nothing away, brother. I ain't wasting.
You
no
know,
money.
you know
I
what?
ain't wasting no money now. You know what I'm saying? I gotta work hard for my money. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, look, he said, I made the decision. I'm gonna go on through with it.
Hey,
I gotta
I'm
finish
going
those
to
4
take it.
boxes.
Hey, and then once I'm done, I'm going through a cleanse, and I'm gonna go on and detoxify and flush my body out, and then I'm going all natural because one thing about it, we have too much processed food, and one thing I like about RFK, the first thing he said was, "Hey man, we got too much stuff in our food.
Yeah.
The potato chips have too many ingredients in a potato chip
That other countries don't have.
Exactly.
From the same
Fruit
brands
Loops got
too.
30 different coloring in it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, no, wait a minute. Look, so them the two things that I want to hit on, right? So during his confirmation, right, one of the senators, they hit him with this. Robert F. Kennedy, are you a conspiracy theorist? He was like, well, if you call, he was like, when I said that red dye number 3 causes cancer, he was like, about 3 months later, the government said it did. So I don't know. He was like, when I said that you don't need a vaccine because COVID is not transmittable like that and everybody gonna get it anyway. He was like, 3 months later, the government came out. He was like, so am I a conspiracy theorist? Like, anytime you could command a room of people that's accusing you of something, but yet they asking them questions that they don't fully understand the answer, and he's literally blowing them up. Like he was revealing so much stuff. They were like, you know what? Just write it down and send it to us. Like everybody don't need to know about this.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because they don't want people to know.
Right, because they don't want people to know. Here's the key thing to Chick-fil-A, which is one of everyone's favorite sandwiches, right?
Worst chicken. That ain't even chicken.
It's not.
Chick-fil-A ain't even real.
But look, listen. So they boil the meat in brine, and they have like over 150 ingredients in it. What do you think these ingredients are doing?
Causing cancer.
We talking about from
Don't they have a lawsuit right now or
taste
something?
inhibitor? They need to.
I think there's
Shoot.
already one. So if people are eating Chick-fil-A, you should look into that.
Right, but here's the key thing. Robert F. Kennedy said, "Look, I'm not trying to stop you from eating a cheeseburger." He said, "Hey, my boss like cheeseburgers." He said, "I just want you to be aware of what you're putting in your body."
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And it's your
And I
choice at the
think
end of
that
the day.
as a government, I
people
think that's
crossing
the
over.
least they should do is.
Mhm.
So you know,
Your
him and
choice.
Aaron Rodgers are real tight friends. Aaron Rodgers, the football player,
Uh-oh.
and Aaron Rodgers, you know, went and did that ayahuasca retreat and everything to, you know, just do some soul searching. He took a couple of partners with him from football that went on the same little journey.
Mhm.
And I thought about it. I thought that, you know, very enlightening experience. But then they showed actually in all of that how him and RFK Jr. were hanging out and talking back and forth, which let me know at that point that this guy is seriously about naturopathic medicine.
Mhm.
Um, Mushrooms, which are, you know, the psilocybin,
Mhm.
which unlocks certain mechanisms within your brain, your conscious,
Mhm.
Yes.
your psyche to open up in certain areas.
Yeah.
Now, you know, certain things aren't for everybody,
Mhm.
but some things are for other
Microdosing
people.
psilocybin's really good for depression. I've
Exactly.
been looking into that. And just like 5 milligrams a day of that, it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it
Mhm.
probably has you unlocking parts of your brain
Mhm.
that hasn't been unlocked. But, you know, we say that to say is that just because, you know, and I look at how everybody was trying to dog him out because he came through Trump's administration.
Mhm.
And everybody wants to say anybody that comes through Trump administration is no good.
They can discredit that.
And that's not the case, because when you have a man trying to save you from getting cancer,
Yeah.
what's not good about that?
Yeah. That's
Help,
actually
help
being
me
honest.
understand if he's trying to correct America's health, because America's health has been poor
Mhm.
from the almost the very beginning,
Mhm.
and we eat a lot of processed food.
Mhm.
And he wants to change that because Canada don't do that.
Yep.
And other countries don't have the same type of ingredients that is allowed in our food. And he wants to change that.
And it's
What's
a problem.
not good about
Yeah.
that? And
Well, it's also the way that he wants to change it. So I think we talked about this last week, but in the 80s, there were many cigarette companies that acquired food companies. So Kraft is owned by, I think, Reynolds and Morgan. And what they did is the same technology they used to get people hooked on cigarettes, them same chemists now became food chemists. So we went from 800 to 10,000 natural additives. These natural additives are to do one thing: get you hooked on this
Yeah,
food, get you addicted on this food.
like McDonald's,
Yeah.
Mhm.
they French fries. You know, it finally came out that those French fries had addictive ingredients in it, things that McDonald's was putting in their French fries to get you addicted.
Mhm.
But keep it real, everybody loves some McDonald's French fries.
Like
You could go
Coke.
there and not even get a burger, but you was gonna get you some fries.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think you know what we have to do is take a step back
Mhm.
and not say just because this dude is whatever you feel about him, you know, you can't charge the people that are coming to do something positive. That's like what if I decide to become Trump's cannabis czar? You gonna say I'm a screwed up individual?
Mhm.
You
Nope.
gonna say I'm no good?
Mhm.
And I'm coming to use an opportunity to help people that need help.
That's true.
You can't put that on me. I'm in position to do something positive for the nation, and just because he appointed me, now you want to say I'm a bad guy.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So I just say that because that's just to me an unfair situation. I knew a bunch of gang members. I knew a bunch of killers and drug dealers and
That
jackers.
I mean, you're a gang
I
member.
stood and talked with them, walked down the street with them because we lived in the same neighborhood. So what you gonna say? I'm a bad guy just because I grew up on the block with this cat or I knew him?
Well, wait a minute. Jesus hung out with the thieves and the killers.
Come on,
like,
man.
what, Jesus bad? I mean, listen, like at a certain point, we have to use our own common sense and stop letting people shape and form who they want us to be.
Or how we think or what we should think. Like I was
Yes.
telling my mom, she was like, oh, they're going to take away my Social Security. I said, let me ask you this, have they? I said, so why are you worried about them doing something they haven't done?
Mhm.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because she said, oh, they're going to take away Social Security and this and that. I said, but they haven't. And they're probably not, because there are a lot of elderly people out there that need that.
Mhm.
Why would you do that? Why would anybody with a brain do that? And plus, it has to go through Congress.
Right.
It's not going to even make it through Congress. Congress, shoot, half of them are old anyway. So they're going to need it for their damn self, let alone maybe friends and family and other members that are growing old too are going to need that same Social Security that they benefit from. So I personally don't see that happening.
Yeah.
But, when we talk about and pivoting into a lot of things of going back into the RFK thing with cannabis, I believe that he is going to, before the administration disappears, before 47 is gone, I think that they're going to legalize cannabis.
Me too.
That's
Yes,
my
sir.
prediction.
I agree, sir.
Federal level?
Yes.
But it's going to take us as advocates to push that
Yes.
by
Yeah, to push
going
the
to
narrative.
meet with RFK, writing letters to RFK, sending soon as that boy get in and they hit the gavel and say you were in like Flynn.
I'm gonna fire 5 letters.
We
off
need to be
him.
firing off letters from the industry left and right. You
Mhm.
need to reschedule cannabis. That need to be your first thing you could do. And right now, that's the easiest thing that he could
Yeah.
do.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
That's the easiest thing he could do,
'Cause
and
it's
he can hang
7/8
his
of the
hat
way
on it.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Virgil, here's what's so key about what you said. Now you got somebody that actually cares about the people. And I like the how they set this all up. So they released the MLK files and the JFK files, right? So now you can see the CIA involvement in JFK death. So now here I just want to give you guys just a little statistics on this. So in 2022, they did a cybercilin study, and it says psychedelics drugs help people with alcohol use disorder reduce drinking. 2 doses of cybercilin pills along with psychotherapy help people with alcohol use disorder reduce drinking for at least 8 months.
Wow.
This is what they fear.
Yeah, because the alcohol companies ain't gonna make no money if you bring in psychedelics
Yeah.
that's gonna cure alcoholism, right?
Mhm.
And we already know that weed smoking, that they're already like the next generation. They like, well, I'm gonna drink a carb with all this sugar, that my body bloating up, versus having cannabis when I can work up the next morning with a clear head.
Yeah.
And I could work out even under the influence of cannabis.
Yeah.
I can't work out when I'm drunk.
That's true.
I can't drive when I'm drunk, but I could drive when I got cannabis in me.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? I smoke me a doobie and I'm sitting on the freeway and I'm chilling like a big dog. I ain't mad at
No road
nobody.
rage.
And I'm
And
paying
anybody
attention.
mad at me, I could care
Yeah,
less.
Yeah.
Hey,
That's true.
hey, do what you do. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, I believe that this administration will change. I'm also going to throw another tidbit out there that you guys don't know, because I'm a behind the scenes guy. I'm a real cannabis player. DCR, they're creating an oversight committee for DCR, that this body will be overseeing DCR.
Good, because they don't know what they're doing.
But the problem that I have,
Is who they're appointing.
exactly.
Yeah, they're always.
Who are they? Because it could be the blind leading the blind.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
And so for you guys that don't know, DCR is the Division of Cannabis Regulations. That is the governing body in the city of Los Angeles that issues out cannabis licenses in the city of Los Angeles. This governing body has been the worst thing ever in the cannabis industry in the city of Los Angeles. The people in that department don't know diddly squat about cannabis, but they regulating us.
Mhm.
The same thing you have in the state of California. They don't know diddly squat about cannabis, but they're regulating us. Now they're going to hire a so-called governing body over this that don't know diddly squat about cannabis, but they're going to regulate us. This is amazing. Cannabis for people, black people, people of color, Latino, and others, I feel sorry for you because there's not going to be much help in the cannabis industry for you.
Yeah.
I spoke with a guy called me last night. He is a debt collector, and he's a debt collector for the cannabis industry. One of the main distributors, Nabis. He called me one time trying to collect a debt that I didn't know. And I had to tell him, man, that's not my company name. You have the wrong company. So you need to go back and fact check that. That's not, it was California something something. And I said, that's not my company. My company is California Cannabis, but that's not my license
Right.
name.
Your license name is still different.
I said, my license
per
name is
place.
different. I said, so that's not me.
Right.
And so anyway, I began to, he and I just began to talk. Now, he didn't sound like a brother, but he was a brother.
Mm-hmm.
He sounded like a other, but he was a brother.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So anyway, we got to chopping it up on the phone, and I said, look, man, I've been doing this for a long time. He called me up yesterday because he really is upset with his company because his company sends him to go and collect debts from only the black people.
Mm.
Wow.
Because he is
black.
Exactly.
Hey, who that, TJ? Who that, TJ?
No.
Oh.
This we don't even know this
No,
guy.
got you.
He's from a whole nother state, right? So anyway, he told me, and said, look, man, this is racist. He says the way they have me handling this situation. So he and I began to talk, and there was information he wasn't even supposed to reveal to me. But, because I am a real player in the cannabis industry, he began to tell me these companies that he's been having to call. And I had to tell him, I said, man, those companies aren't even ran by black people, unfortunately.
Right.
Those are run by other people. And the problem is that what they've been doing, so I gave him a whole scenario. I said, one, they've been debting that business purposely. They are over purchasing, and their intentions is not to pay. So that company, that license, can now be in debt to you, the debtor, and put it so deep in debt that you will now figure that you have no way out of this situation. So the only way I could do it is just give me a few dollars and I'll just leave. And then you'll turn around and pay that debt and clear that license and take it over. Another thing that they do that is sad, they own multiple licenses and multiple companies. So you have a license. I'm going to purchase a hell of a lot of product under your license, and I'm going to go take that and sell that in my other locations. But I'm going to leave you stuck with the bill.
Yeah.
And I done made the money off of it. And if you ever try to screw me over, I'm going to debt you even more so because I'm the one that's really in control of the back end of this business. You just the face of it, and it ain't nothing you can do. So I'm taking all of that product out of your location, and I'm going to take it to my other locations that I truly benefit from. Because I don't really benefit from your location. I'm trying to steal your location from you. This is what is going on in the cannabis industry. You heard this live and direct from me.
Hey,
because I'm going to keep it real at all times. Beware out there, y'all, that think that your investor has your best interests at heart.
Absolutely.
They don't have your best interests at heart. They're looking how to steal that license, how they can steal that license from you, how deep they can sink you in debt so that you can bow out and you can bow down out of that license, and they can take that license and get it for pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
That's the sad part about what's going on in the industry right now.
So here's something that I wanted to point out to you guys. So you guys heard about TikTok and them saying, I think after January 6th or whatever, that it was supposed to be banned. And now they gave them 30 days to find a new buyer. Have you guys noticed the willingness of politicians to allow TikTok to go forward? but yet we got a cannabis industry that we already paying taxes on, that we trying to make legit, and you ain't got nobody that's trying to stand up for that. Don't you find that kind of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
weird? But now this is really where I want to shine the light at. TikTok, if you listen to the influencers, they say, hey, listen, this is something that I can put money in my pocket. I could create a 6-figure for myself. And, don't take this from me. Allow me to do this. Well, hell, ain't that the same thing we've been saying about the cannabis industry since the
Exactly.
90s?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, hey, here's something that allow me to have a living wage. And, I can now be more of a law-abiding citizen. See, I bring these things up to you guys because what you said earlier, as far as advocacy and a community to make sure that we have a voice, we have been saying the same thing. Why not the cannabis industry? Why not allow us? We good pillars of the community. We want to help solve some problems too.
Yeah.
But we can't get not one politician to say, hey, let's stop the ban on cannabis.
Exactly.
Think about that for a second. We got everybody and their mama talking about TikTok has to survive, but you ain't have none of these SOBs that say the cannabis industry has to survive.
Exactly. And
We
the
already
sad
know
part,
it's essential.
oh, it's very essential. And the sad part about it is we pay more taxes than anybody
Come on.
in this country. Like, as far as ratio of taxes that we pay, there is no other entity, business, corporation, or industry that pay more taxes than we do.
And then we still got to go against the black market.
Exactly.
Right. You see what I mean?
They're not even doing anything about.
TikTok don't even have a black market, but they talking about save that. And yeah, we got it all, and ain't not one person
Trying to say
I got a problem with
the
this.
industry.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so we understand that their priorities are their priorities in where they put them.
And to get reelected. That's their priority.
Exactly. And this industry is not a priority. It's not a priority because we haven't made it a priority, right?
That's true.
I guarantee you, if we do the same thing, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, we do the same thing as the Boston Tea Party. If we start withholding taxes that these cities have been getting now for year after year after year, and we just stop paying states and cities this money that they now rely on to give 10% to law enforcement and this and this, we cut that money off, then what they gonna do? They gonna listen to us. But how many of us got balls enough to do that? I do. But how many gonna follow with me? Because in order for us to get something done, I just can't be out there on the highest mountain by myself.
Yeah.
I got to have everybody. When Martin Luther King was talking about, you'll see him at the mountaintop, he wasn't there alone.
That's true.
He had a whole mall full of people that was there sitting there listening and advocating with him.
Well, you gotta remember one thing. In 68, when he started talking about commerce, that group started thinning out more and more.
Exactly.
So don't forget the power of commerce. If we did as a community come together and say, no. We want this company to survive. We don't care how the regulation got to go. This company has to survive. That's the power that we have as a community. But again, it starts with advocacy. It starts with literally saying how we want this to turn out. Like, to me, since 2020, and anybody here, correct me if I'm wrong, we had a Congress, both the Senate and the House of Representatives, that was Democrat. You had a Democratic president. What stopped the vote? So how in the hell am I here 5 years earlier still asking about the same thing? You 7/8 the way there, close the deal.
Yeah.
What I'm gonna do? Keep on begging?
Yeah. Well, see, the problem with Democrats, first of all, don't stand on a business platform. And when you don't stand on a business platform, then businesses that exist in here that have, let's be real. In order for any of the Democrats to get money to go to their campaign to get reelected, who the heck you think writing them fat checks? Businessmen and women. Powerful businessmen and women. But they don't stand on business. They stand on principles that have nothing to do with the advancement of a community or of or our country when it comes to business. So when we get someone that finally wants to talk about business, because everybody wants to be a part of a business in some form or fashion. We are all business owners. We are all business owners with a business mind. So when someone talks business, our antennas go up, we listen. Especially somebody who's been in business, who's a multi-millionaire, billionaire. We're definitely going to pay attention to them. Because why wouldn't you? If you played basketball, why wouldn't you listen to Kobe or Magic Johnson or Michael Jordan? They did it. They showed you what they could do. Now you want to listen to them so you could try to emulate what they do. Well, if we in business, why wouldn't we listen to the businessmen and women that have been successful year after year after year? We would, because we want to be successful just like them.
That's right.
If you are in the cannabis industry like we are, and we have shown a level of success and sustainability in the cannabis industry, why wouldn't you listen to us?
Yeah.
We must know something. 30, 10, 20, 15 years later, we still here. 5 years, 7 years, 8 years later, we're still in the game. And what they say, after 3 years, you know, if you still in business, you must be doing something right.
Right.
But here we are. Here we are, people, real players in the cannabis industry, doing what real players do to try to hang in there and stay in the industry. I just so happen to be watching some reality show because it came on and it kind of got my attention. It had Ocho Cinco on there, and it's called Wags or something or whatever. I don't even know what that means. But anyway, it's a lady on there says she invested in a farm in Denver. I knew immediately she didn't know what the hell she was talking about when it came to cannabis. If you invested in a cannabis farm in Denver, you're in the wrong damn place to invest your money, sweetheart. And you need to go get your change back. Because Denver ain't the place to invest in a cannabis farm. How could you not know that California is the mecca of cannabis? But you go invest in a state that ain't never been known for being a mecca of cannabis and don't have any legacy cultivators and owners of cannabis from way back in the day. So that let me know right off the top, she knew nothing about cannabis. The sad part about it is that a real cannabis player can always tell a fake when he hear and listen and see one. You don't have to sit long at a table. You don't have to sit long, and you don't have to sit long at a table. You let somebody talk and you know whether they real or not just by their conversation when it comes to cannabis. Because we know who the players are. And we know who the real players are, because they are players and they're real players.
But Virgil, to add one on to that, like, I try to tell people about like this cannabis that's real big and chunky, just like Tyson chicken. I'm like, you never been in a grow before. You know, you never seen the pesticides and the PGRs and the stuff that they put on this cannabis.
Absolutely.
And what you don't realize is, you know, it's big now, but when you smoke it, it could be carcinogenic to your body.
Absolutely.
So would you not rather have, you know, a living soil, something that the person that's growing it would even partake in? Like, that's something that you mentioned a while back. You only bought from people that you knew, because if they weren't smoking
all organic.
Right.
Well, all
why would
organic.
I do it?
You know what I'm saying? So I agree with you, Keith. But we're going to wrap it up tonight. It was definitely a good and positive show. We touched on a lot of topics and subjects around here. Some controversial. Some you guys didn't know about. Fun fact. Before we get out of here, everybody got to bring a fun fact.
I pulled mine up. I'm ready.
Keith, give us your fun fact, baby.
Okay, so my fun fact is just based on what Virgil just said. So he mentioned about the young lady buying a farm in Denver. So here's a fun fact. The Mediterranean belt of the United States is a region with Mediterranean climate that includes most of California, parts of Oregon, and Nevada, and small parts of Mexico. So within this Mediterranean belt is literally the optimum sun, the optimum climate, humidity for you to be able to grow the best foods, best cannabis, best whatever. So that's just
In
that
the
intimate
world.
knowledge that a cultivator will have. So be careful who you buy your weed from. He's telling you the best grows in the West for a reason.
Only the best grows in the West. That's California cannabis. Good fun fact. My fun fact, whenever y'all see them cats out there with them bald shaved heads, them white boys, and they rolling around with them flags, and they got that little on there, black men, praise them for it. Praise them for it. Tell them, yes, thank you. You know why? Because that swastika comes from the ancient Egyptian tombs. In case y'all didn't know
I
A
didn't
lot
know
of
that.
people don't know that.
Fun fact. Ancient Egyptian tombs.
Oh,
The swastika been around long before these
wow.
folks. You got to keep in mind, they take stuff and try to make it their own. They lied about Christianity. They took Christianity and used it to abuse the African that they brought to America. They're good at taking something and trying to make it their own.
Yeah.
But don't be fooled. We in the information age, y'all. Swastika, y'all brothers better know, came from us. And it don't mean what they think it means.
Right.
It means what it means for us.
Yeah.
And
Just
how they
know
gonna
that.
talk about nationalism
fact.
and we Americans too?
Yeah.
They not nationalists. Come on, Joe.
Exactly. Fun fact.
See, my fun fact related to hemp. Actually, you go. I just lost my train of thought. So
Hey, look,
let me.
look, you get. Hey, look,
It
give
is
me that
hemp
cannabis.
related
You get
though.
no more.
Give me the weed, girl.
Right,
You
give me
smoking
that
on
weed.
something good. Shoot,
Passed
caught
it
that
like that.
train of
Good thing
thought.
I have my phone out though.
Right on.
Otherwise, so my fun fact is something I posted on Instagram earlier, man. It's just a fact though. So Nat Turner led a rebellion in 1831, killing 55 white people in the battle against slavery when they caught him. They mutilated his body, turned it into souvenirs, and ate him. But his legacy lives on. His story will never be in vain. But it's something that reminded me of my Panamanian people. That's because history for us gets really cloudy. People don't know too much about Panama because we're not part of the Incas, we're not part of the Aztecs, and we're not part of the Mayans. Where we are part of the isthmus, we're a piece of the rainforest that literally our people hid out. We never went to nobody else's civilization. So we're a very like hidden civilization of
like
people. You know what I'm saying? So
Maroons.
it takes a lot of research to even know what took place in that little piece of land because it's an isthmus. It's a piece of land that connects North America to South America. It's not a country. That's why we get skipped when they do. They try to put us in Central America, but we're not really even Central America. We're not South America. We're not Central. We're just an isthmus. We're a piece of land that connects two continents. That's all it is. And we just happen to be in the rainforest. That's why for many centuries, people fought for that little isthmus. And that's why it's so important with the canal and the things that are going on now.
back in
But
the-
regardless, though, my main fact was King Bayano from Panama, which they consider he came from the Mali Empire in Africa, from Mali or whatever. King Bayano, in 1548 to 1558, he started a rebellion in Panama. And then in 1569 and 1582, he started a second war. And what people don't know about Panama is that out of all of the Americas, the first black rebellions that took place were there.
Right.
And it was the echo. It was what we did because when slavery started, it was about 15. When they brought us in, it was like 1526. This is 300 years before anything that took place here. When the people, that's why Haiti and Jamaica are the way that they are. But what people don't know is that Panama actually started with the blacks, Panamanians from there, started, and then it echoed to Haiti, and then it echoed to Jamaica. And that's why Jamaica, their stance, the way they conquered is they had a hill and a mountainside that they can shoot and shoot their arrows and get people, and they outnumbered the whites. Haiti was just a country that just completely outnumbered the whites. You just couldn't conquer them.
Yeah.
Panama, what gave us our advantage was something that you pointed out to, brother, earlier, whereas when the indigenous and the Africans got together, Panama's a perfect example of that, because when they brought us, the slave ships and all that were wrecked. They got out. We were whatever Africans came from those slave ships, we were instantly rebellious. And then when we went into those jungles, we acclimated with those indigenous people. We taught them whatever African skills we brought, but they taught us their lay of the land, and we combined that skill. And with that, that's why we used to kill people more from coming underneath the water or being in trees. But back then, you didn't have the type of artillery that can just demolish people instantly. The war could still be in an even field.
Absolutely.
But the thing about Panama is that one thing Panamanians always did is that because Panama was trying to be conquered by the English and the Spanish, we always just knew how to take sides with the person who, my enemy, what do they say? My enemy's enemy is my friend. So we've always played that game because when the Spanish came for us, and the English came, we said, fuck it. How do we get rid of the Spanish? Well, let's join with the English. And the English wanted the Spanish out because it's all about the money. It's all about the trade. It was all about that. So it's a very common thing that was done a long time ago, but people don't speak about that part of history because they really don't know. And it's something that I just discovered a few years ago, just trying to dig deeper into my own culture, because it's a culture that, another fun fact, the name Panamanian is only 101 or 102 years old. So my family are the original Panamanians, and it's only because you're 102. That the word Panamanian, it was Colombia, the Grand Colombia first, and before that it was just the Isthmus. There was no name for my country. Exactly. So it's only about 100 or 102 years of people who can actually call themselves Panamanians.
Wow,
right on.
I didn't know that.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Nice.
Good
That's
fun
a
fact.
fact.
Good
So
fun
my
fact.
fun fact is not that deep, but it is. It was hemp related. So hempcrete, and I've been reading more about it because of the fires. But it is a lot more resistant against fires, and it's durable against earthquakes, and it's also mold and mildew resistant. You know, so right now that there's a lot of contamination on the lands, it just makes sense. Like I think we need to focus a little more on what hemp can do. You know, because that's an amazing fact.
Yeah.
Good fun fact. But we thank y'all for tuning in for Token Tuesday. We will holler at y'all next Tuesday. Tune in. Like I said, go down, subscribe, hit the subscribe button, and holler at us. But hey, that was a beautiful discussion tonight. We touched on a lot of topics. Email us, at Token Tuesday. So it's Token Tuesday at gmail.com. You can email us anything you want to email us about the show, what you like, what you didn't like. If you have any suggestions, comments, or even questions about our show, just go in. It's cctokentuesday@gmail.com. Go in there, cctokentuesday@gmail.com, and send us an email. We love to hear from you. Hit the subscribe button. Until next time, peace.
Token Tuesday, it's what we do. We just sit around, smoke a pound, and talk about what we do in the cannabis world. We gon' let you know how the business go on a brand new show.